Welcome to TalkNorth.com. Thanks to our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. And please follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Two promo codes to be aware of. Bitesquad.com. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. And go to SodaStick.com, the great local apparel company. Use the promo code YouBetcha to get free shipping on any sized order. Welcome to this week's Preps Today with John Millea. He's John Millea, the prep guru for MSHSL.org. You can find John's journal, all of his work there. He drives around the state in a branded car, looking for the best high school sports stories Minnesota has to offer, and he tells them well. I'm Jim Suhan from the Star Tribune. This is our Prep Sports show on TalkNorth.com. Subscribe to all of our shows at your favorite podcast app. Check in. Follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Thank you to our producer, Brandon Morton, and thank you to our sponsors, Pizza Barn, Princeton.com. That's, of course, the Pizza Barn in Princeton, right by 169. And Bitesquad.com, promo code TalkNorth. Let's start in Perham. Perham makes history.
Oh, yeah, Jim. We had a remarkable thing happened Saturday down at St. Olaf College in Northfield at the high school cross-country state championship. So we knew this was a possibility, probably a very good possibility, that Perham would not only win the Class 1A girls and boys team state championships in cross-country, but that both teams would do it for the third year in a row. That's never been done in the long history of cross-country in Minnesota, and that's what they did. The Yellow Jackets swept them both, for the third year in a row for the boys, third year in a row for the girls. No, they're in Class 1A, like I said. No 1A or 2A school has ever done that. But there's really a great twist to this whole thing. And you know who Gabe Grunwald was, the
Yep.
famous runner, former Gophers runner. She went to high school. She grew up in Perham. She graduated in 2004, was initially a walk-on to the cross-country and track teams with the Gophers, became a scholarship athlete, I believe, and then became a professional runner, and died after 10 years of dealing with a very rare form of cancer. She died in June. And I didn't know till just recently that Jeff Morris, who coaches the boys and girls cross-country teams at Perham, and I think he's an assistant on the track teams, Gabe Grunwald was his very first state champion. In 2004, when she was a senior, she was a state champ in the 800 meters. And, Gabe and her husband, Justin, also a former Gophers runner. They had very strong ties to everybody back home in Perham. She was 32 when she died. So the first competition the Perham cross-country teams had this year was a new one. They created the first annual Brave Like Gabe Invitational and raised money, took donations from all the teams. Fans donated, they sold T-shirts, and they raised nearly $6,000 for the Brave Like Gabe Foundation, which Justin Grunwald now operates. And he's a Brainerd guy. This is a total Minnesota story. So I didn't know till after the races were done. I was talking to Jeff Morris, and I asked about Gabe. I said, what kind of impact has Gabe and her life and her death had on the team? And he unzipped his jacket. We were all bundled up. It was in the probably upper 30s down there in Northfield. It was pretty cool. And he unzipped his jacket, and he had this sweatshirt on that said "Running on Hope," and that's one of the hashtags of the Brave Like Gabe Foundation. And he said every coach, every runner got one of these from Justin Grunwald. He sent them to Perham before the state meet, which was pretty cool. So I got home from the race and I was sitting down to write about the cross country meet, and through social media I got a message through to Justin. I didn't know if he'd respond, and I don't know Justin. I never talked to him before. Didn't have any contact info, but I sent him a note on social media, and about an hour later he got back to me. He was in New York for the New York City Marathon that was on Sunday. And if you go to John's Journal at mshsl.org, you can read about the Yellow Jackets and what Justin had to say about them. And I asked him about these sweatshirts. And I'll read you a quote that's in the story. Justin said, "These kids are who is going to change the future. I can only do so much." And Gabrielle gave her heart and soul. Seeing these kids be good stewards, raising money for the foundation, I'm speechless. So if that's not a feel-good story, that's based on a tragic situation, I don't know what is. And there's a little follow-up here. So then Tuesday, a few days after this, I got a message on social media from someone I know in Florida. And she was telling me that she has a friend who's going through some tests now, and she may have cancer. I don't know that it's anything related to what Gabe had, but my friend told me the reason she pushed to have it looked at is because she was aware of Gabe's story, and that really got her to get this thing checked out. And they're still doing tests. And she said she wishes she could thank Gabe for everything she did, and then realized the next best thing is could she write a note or get a hold of Justin. So I'm trying to help her get in touch with Justin. Just talk about the reach of Gabe Grunwald from Perham. It's just it's an amazing story. And Perham is really a special place. I've been up there a lot for different reasons, and I've never been more impressed with people in the community like I am with people in Perham. Just a remarkable story there. They'll probably, they'll be going for 4 in a row, both of those teams next spring. Maybe it'll be a little bit back to normal circumstances in a year from now, but great athletes in Perham, great coaches, great people. I'll touch on the other results from the cross country meet. In two-way, the team champions were Mounds View, which won a very narrow victory by 1 point over Eden Prairie. And the Edina girls, they're a regular team you see at the top of the podium in two-way cross country. And the individual state champs, we had one repeat champ, Gino Urbaum from Greenway, Nashwauk, Keewatin. It's great when you get a kid from the Iron Range to be a dominant cross country runner. In the 1A girls, Morgan Gale from Murray County Central, although our friend Patrick Rossi would want me to specify she's from Fulda. The team is Murray County Central / Fulda. Morgan is a Fulda girl. And then in two-way, Oliver Pauline from St. Paul Highland Park and Anna Lee Weaver from Stillwater are your individual champions in the big classes. And it was a remarkable day.
I drove through Fulda the other day, and I didn't see a statue for Royce, and I was disappointed.
I saw his pictures in the post office on the wall. You got to go there, Jim.
Yeah, well, I tell him. That doesn't surprise me, and I will stop in next time I'm through.
It's interesting if you drive through downtown, and I've done this a couple times. There's a building, and up above the front of the building, it says Royce on the building. Like etched in granite up there. I don't think that's an ode to Patrick, but certainly, I assume some ancestor owned that building, whatever was there, whether it was his dad's funeral home or a hardware store or what it was. But the name Royce is on Main Street in Fulda.
It doesn't say Royce, John. It says Royce.
Royce. That's right. You got to pronounce it correctly.
Let's get to outstanding sportsmanship, state football and volleyball, quick hits, and Pep Bands of the week. Let's first thank our primary sponsor. It's a great partnership because we're kind of all about the same thing here. John with his good work covering high school sports and telling uplifting stories, and Pizza Barn in Princeton being such a dynamic part of their community and their school, and seeing all the high school kids every time we go up there to have a pizza. Pizza Barn in Princeton. Check out pizzabarnprinceton.com. Remember, it's not just if you live in Princeton. If anytime you're up there near 169, you can get there very easily. That's
right. We've talked many times about how they take care of officials up there with our Thank a Ref program, bringing pizzas. And winter sports are about to heat up, so there's going to be some officials in Princeton. Or somebody's going to hand them a personal pizza afterwards, and they're going to like it a lot. It's a great thing, and then as we've said, that has spread around the state. That happens in a lot of schools. The big news right now from the Pizza Barn is the pizza of the month for November. And I've talked to Jody Stay up there, our friend who runs the Pizza Barn, about my love of things like sausage and pepperoni. So the pizza of the month is called the triple pepperoni. And I can think of nothing better than triple the pepperoni. So here's how they put it together. They start with their own homemade pizza crust, their sauce. Then they add their regular pepperoni, which is great. I've had it. Then they put on diced pepperoni, which is a concept I can get behind.
That should be illegal in this state.
Diced
pepperoni on pepperoni?
On pepperoni. So I'm only halfway through the pepperonis here. So the regular pepperoni, diced pepperoni, and then what they're calling cup and char pepperoni. And there's an explanation for this. It's a traditional Western New York style pepperoni with a casing that allows pepperoni slices to pop into cups that hold natural juices and flavor, and adds a little crispness to each bite. So I'm going to talk to my wife once we get through these fall state tournaments. We might be taking a road trip before the end of November here and have a little triple pepperoni. That sounds like that's up my alley.
I'm envisioning one of these, staycation type situations where maybe you get a hotel room near Pizza Barn and you just kind of spend your days there.
Just wander in for lunch, wander in for dinner. Hey, Jody, we're back. I like it.
Yeah, I see it happening. So thank you to Pizza Barn in Princeton. We do appreciate their support, and it is a great business. Let's get to outstanding sportsmanship.
Yeah, we got a couple of great things going on here, Jim. I posted a letter from a coach on the MSHSL Facebook page a few days ago. You can read it. It's from Erin Murray. She's the girls soccer coach at Orono. So this happened at US Bank Stadium at the state tournament. Orono beat Holy Angels 2-1 in the Class 1A state semifinals, and a day later, Orono lost to Matamidi. But it's the interactions of these two teams. Erin has several examples here. During their game, an Orono player was injured and went down. The first player to run to her side wasn't a teammate. It was Rachel Kawicki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She's the goalkeeper for Holy Angels, ran to her and stayed with her till Erin and a trainer got out there. And then after the game, Holy Angels had been beaten by Orono. So the teams were kind of crossing as they were exiting the locker rooms afterwards. And Erin wrote that she kind of pulled her team back because the Holy Angels girls had just lost in the state semifinals. She thought, let's give them their space. And then Rachel, all of a sudden, the goalkeeper from Holy Angels, came up to the coach and wanted to know, could you point out who scored that last goal on me, the one that won the game? And it was Nora Chenard is her name. Rachel went up to Nora and told her what a great goal it was, and complimented her over and over, and then just kept talking with the team, wishing them luck. The two teams kind of got together. And then the next day during the championship game, all these girls from Holy Angels came back. They had played in a third place game and were basically an extra cheering section for Orono. And then after the game, the Orono players lost the state championship game. So after the game, you go back up to the concourse to see your parents and your family members and your friends. Here are some of the Holy Angels players waiting there to hug the Orono kids, tell them good job. And it's just amazing what kids will do. So I encourage you, go to the MSHSL Facebook page. This thing, I'm looking at it right now. 66,000 people have seen this, and there's 35 comments, 237 shares. I always tell people, if you're worried about the future, you should do what I do and hang out with high school kids. And this is the perfect reason. Just great things like that. So it's really great that Erin sent this email. The email was sent to people at Holy Angels, but she CC'd some of us at the high school league on it, so we got to see it. And I asked Erin if it'd be okay if I put that on social media, and I'm sure glad she said yes, because it's a great lesson. The other one is kind of an easier thing to explain. There was a playoff game, a football playoff game down at Janesville Waldorf Pemberton last week. And afterwards, Ryan Aludke, who's the athletic director in Janesville, also an Iowa native like me, so don't hold that against him. He tweeted these photos of two locker rooms that were perfectly clean. Both teams, that played in the football game, cleaned their locker rooms, to the point